But moving forward now, it's going back to behind the scenes. People want to see behind the scenes. People want to see, who you are as a brand. So as an example, great videos. I had a phone call with a member the other day who's doing 100k a month, and he actually wants to fly over to India where his product is made, and he wants to film like a mini documentary. He wants to film a mini documentary on how his product is made, how clean his product is, because it's what consumers want to see.
I think one thing to consider as well is like just how powerful of an impact social media can be. Like going back, like what you said, 5, even 10 years, having things like Bing ads and stuff like that. When we look back now, it's so basic the way you advertise on that. Since TikTok's been, going viral, it's not just, people cashing in with the platform TikTok itself, but it's the style of how people are doing it that's moving across Facebook, Instagram. So people are like duplicating what's working on there on other platforms and smashing it on that as well.
So if you are doing it and you are the face of the brand as well, which you don't have to be, but people like the story. Like, I think I've had people in the past say to me, but should I make it seem like my company is really big so people will buy? And I was like, if people like to support small businesses, if you're putting yourself out there and people will buy into you and think, I want to get that product because I know it's helping her out, she's got a little girl, like things like that. So
welcome to this podcast. This podcast is going to be a little bit different for 2 reasons. One, we're coming to you from the Maldives, and secondly, it's Tammy's birthday today. Happy birthday, Tammy.
Happy birthday.
We're working on her birthday. We're going to be talking about social commerce. We've got Josh here with us, who's smashed social media for over 5 years, been in e-commerce for numerous years. So we're just going to be touching on social commerce a little bit and how social commerce is the future of e-commerce. I know we've done webinars with Tammy around social commerce already, and how powerful it is and how many users there are on social media these days that are purchasing products every single second. So I think it's going to be a good topic, and having Josh here as well with his expertise and his experience and knowledge, I think it's going to be a really good podcast. But it's crazy when you think of how e-commerce is moving so quickly and how things are changing and how consumers' behaviors are changing all the time, and seeing members now having social media as their main funnel for traffic, I think says a lot. Because if you go back 5 years ago when we started online, most members had one funnel, and it'd be Facebook ads or it'd be Microsoft ads, which you remember, Reese, would be Bing ads. Now what you're seeing is a lot of members diverse because there's money everywhere. Money is being spent everywhere now because e-commerce is so big. So I think touching on this topic, social media is great for anyone who's looking to get involved in e-commerce or is already involved in e-commerce, to understand that if you're not on platforms like Instagram or TikTok, then you're losing a lot of money. And I get members all the time say, Ryan, I'm making X amount of money a month, and I'm doing 15 grand a month, and I'm so happy, I've changed my life. But then when I see they haven't got a social media, I think you could be doing 20k 30k a month. You're losing money. That's the way I look at it, because of how powerful social media is.
I think one thing to consider as well is like just how powerful of an impact social media can be. Like going back, like what you said, 5, even 10 years, having things like Bing ads and stuff like that. When we look back now, it's so basic the way you advertise on that. Since TikTok's been, going viral, it's not just, people cashing in with the platform TikTok itself, but it's the style of how people are doing it that's moving across Facebook, Instagram. So people are like duplicating what's working on there on other platforms and smashing it on that as well. So any business that isn't on social media, like, it's time to wake up. Social media is such a game changer for business, brand awareness, everything like that. But and this is why this podcast is going to be good, it's critical with how you position yourself on a social media platform, because people can do it in an amazing way and cash in majorly, but if you don't do it the right way, it can damage your business.
So we just shot some Instagram training videos out here, and it's crazy because as everybody always knows, we're always updating our system, and I'm doing these social media videos, and the whole course just seems completely different to how it was before. And we did that course 2 years ago. So updating it, there's a lot more value now. Obviously, our mentor Josh, who's going to be doing weekly workshops for all of our members on social media. It's going to be a game changer, Josh, for so many members that aren't on social media.
It's just how social media has changed in general over the last couple of years. Like the updates that they do on social media every single week as well. Like all the updates are for businesses.
Yeah.
Like they're updating it all the time to help businesses push more through social media. Yeah. So it's just a game changer to use social media, and it's a free platform to use.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and it's. I think when you look at some members' results through using social media, from literally just posting in their story, it's an absolute no-brainer.
We're starting to see more and more businesses. I think you pointed this out, Tammy. Businesses that don't even use advertisements anymore. They just literally stick onto social media. Like, it's insane, the power of it.
But there's strategies behind that. You got to remember.
It's not just post a picture and make money.
I've seen mentors out there before, and I won't mention any names, but there's mentors out there that go, I've got a free marketing strategy. I'll build you a drop shipping store for like, a few £100, which we already know what you're going to get for a few £100. And, there's a free marketing strategy that I will give you to use. And when you look at the free marketing strategy, it's stock images. There's no engagement from the credibility standpoint. It's like, would you ever buy from something like that? No. So I think it's understanding the right strategies to use. That there's work that has to be put in. There's connections that we have that I talk about in the new Instagram training that we've done, that you don't just find. You don't find those connections. So I agree with, but I think you need to have the right strategies in place.
It's just keeping up with the trends, and social media has gone through so many trends. Like, who can remember IGTV, which like people like really did buy into, but then they took it away. It's just keeping on top of that, because you have to change, because that's sort of aimed at YouTube's customers, or what do you call it, users. So that Instagram are trying to take back users off YouTube onto Instagram, but you have to change up your content totally to fit with that. And the same with like what Reece said about the TikTok style videos, the reels on Instagram, but that's what people are engaging with. And if you're not doing your content like that, if you're just posting a normal video like you perhaps would have a couple of years ago, then you're not going to stand out, because that's what it's all about, like getting that content right and standing out so people want to come through. Oh, what is this product? Who is this person? And buy in that way.
Yeah, and one of the main things as well is like people's attention span. Like, it seems to me like as time goes on, it gets shorter and shorter.
It's like 1 second now, I swear.
It's ridiculous. It's crazy. But like TikTok brought out, obviously you know how TikTok works, like short videos, you scroll onto the next one, and then the next... who was it to bring it out next? I think it was Facebook, weren't it? Facebook had their own reels and stuff, and then Instagram brought it out. You've got
Shorts.
YouTube Shorts. So it's like, this is what's working at the moment, and the platforms understand that. They can see what's working, so they're releasing these features. So like, as a business, you should identify why they're doing this and look at the pattern. Like, if it's, if TikTok's smashing it and now Facebook's bringing it out, YouTube is, Instagram, we need to jump on that.
100%. Yeah, but the way content is being posted is changing again, which I was actually talking to you guys about yesterday. So actually I was talking to you and Anna yesterday evening around this, Tammy. And if you go back 8-10 years ago, the content people wanted to see was behind the scenes, and now it's gone into the short form video type, like Reece is saying there, with the TikTok and the YouTube shorts, etc. But moving forward now, it's going back to behind the scenes. People want to see behind the scenes. People want to see who you are as a brand. So as an example, great videos. I had a phone call with a member the other day who's doing 100k a month, and he actually wants to fly over to India where his product is made, and he wants to film like a mini documentary. He wants to film a mini documentary on how his product is made, how clean his product is, because it's what consumers want to see. Consumers love that type of thing. It's the backstory to the brand. It's where the brand comes from. It's what the brand's all about. And rather than the constant 10-15 second short videos showing how great the product is, he wants to do like a little bit of reverse engineering around the brand and say, look, this is where it actually comes from. Here's a 3-minute documentary and here's a 1-hour documentary. Which one do you want to watch? Depend on your attention span. So that is the way content is going again, and I think it's important that you have some raw content
So if you are doing it and you are the face of the brand as well, which you don't have to be, but people like the story. Like, I think I've had people in the past say to me, "Oh, but should I make it seem like my company is really big, so people will buy?" And I was like, if people like to support small businesses, if you're putting yourself out there and people will buy into you and think, "Oh, I want to get that product because I know it's helping her out. She's got a little girl," like things like that. So what you're saying,
Don't
like,
that really
behind the
depend
scenes.
though on like what kind of perspective you're trying to give? Because
Yeah, definitely.
we've had so many members in B2B as an example. Yeah, absolutely smash it. Generate multiple six figures from making their brand bigger than it actually is.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really depend on what kind of target audience you have and who you're looking to.
Yeah, but behind the scenes stuff, I think that's something that works well.
The behind the scenes stuff is an interesting strategy because it's going back, like that strategy has been around for a very long time and it's more of a supplier strategy.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at suppliers, and as a business point of view, if you're looking at suppliers, it's the exact strategy they use, and that's what entices businesses to buy in bulk from suppliers.
Yeah.
Because they've obviously first of all showcased the products, then they showcase you the factories, how it's made, the process, everything like that. So bringing that into like a customer perspective and pushing it out there, it's interesting to see that the world is going back into that phase. So, but once again, it validates the point that you need to keep up with the trends. Reels probably won't last forever. At the moment, it's been, on top of the game for a long time, and it probably will still be for a long time. But eventually, there'll be a new method coming out.
It's always changing.
Definitely.
It's always changing.
That's the thing. There's always updates.
Exactly.
The more updates is for business purposes. But that's the extent that people go to get the content, don't they, for their social media. Like you go back to shops. Like, why so many shops closing down? Because of social media.
Yeah.
Because they're moving online.
Yeah.
Like, so many more people are waking up to it now, and so many members are making a lot of money for it as well. So they're waking up to it, and they're focusing more on the social media aspect of things as well, aren't they? So,
Well, you look at the overheads, Josh. Look at the difference.
100%. Yeah.
The overheads just way higher in a traditional business. And with social media, you can run it. So social media, you have to remember, is an app. It's an app on your phone. You can run your business from your phone.
Laying in bed.
Or on a beach or in the Maldives. But that's the reality. So it's more the leverage that social media gives you. And everybody's on social media. You have to remember that. That's why social commerce is so big and is going to be the biggest in e-commerce. It continues to grow because everybody is on social media. If you look at like the new generation, and even like my mum now, she's got Instagram. She don't know how to use it. She don't know how to watch stories properly. She goes all over the place. And I went round not too long ago. She's on some random person's story that she don't even follow, and I don't know how she found him. She's like, "How do you get off this?" So you're going to get some people that are on social media and don't know how to use social media, but the majority of people are on social media, and the average time spent a day is around 2 hours on social media, and you have 2 hours of someone's time to put your product and your brand in front of them and tell them the story and, get them to buy into your product. It's the world we live in is just
the way it's moving. And it's like, we all of us used to say it before, like I ain't said it in a while, but like the reason the online world's so successful and the reason why people can cash in majorly is because if you compare it to like a traditional retail store, you're open for a set amount of hours per day to the amount of people that walk past. Whereas an online business, you are open 24/7, 365 days of the year, and you are open to the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
So like you were mentioning a few minutes ago about the overhead costs, there's literally none.
No.
Like it's insane. So like that and during lockdown was a big wake up call for businesses. Like what you said, Josh, loads of them were shutting down and generally just shifting everything online.
Some businesses didn't wake up, did they? Some businesses didn't want to know, and
they didn't wake up and they closed down and didn't move on to social media or anything else.
But didn't you? I just realised this literally the second when we were chatting, but after lockdown, like before lockdown, had you ever heard of anyone whose job was social media manager or something in social media?
I did. Only like a few, not many.
But if you look on social media now, everyone's job seems to be that. Like, and when I scroll through TikTok, I'll always see like these social media managers like creating content for whatever the brand is, and it seems like, and it is the behind the scenes stuff, like you said.
That stuff's saturated. That stuff.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like how now there's all these jobs around social media, like creators. So it shows that it's not just e-commerce. It's like all businesses woke up and thought, right, we need to go online. Made all these jobs.
Supply and demand, isn't it? So they can see the demand there. So, but you got to be. The thing is, you can easily be put off e-commerce, and you can easily be put off, social media. Like somebody can watch this podcast now and be like, do you know what? I'm inspired. I want to create a business. I want, the freedom these guys have running their businesses from the Maldives and blah blah blah. And then they go and join the wrong person, and it puts them off forever. Yeah. They go, do you know what? E-commerce ain't for me. Do you know what? Don't get me wrong. After time, it's lack of accountability. It's people that go, that want to make, results overnight. But I think you have to be careful because the market is overly saturated where there is demand. Obviously now everybody's trying to supply that demand, and it's easy to fall for the one person. Don't get me wrong, that sometimes I look and people go, Ryan, I'm thinking about doing e-commerce, I'm thinking about joining your team, I think your team's amazing, blah blah, I've been watching you for a while, but I'm a little bit put off because I joined this guy and I didn't get much for it, and then they send me an Instagram handle and I look at it and I'll be brutally honest, I think, how the fuck did you fall for that? Look at that page, look at that guy, look at his presence. How can you send people like that money? So I think it's very important that, if you are going to pursue your e-commerce journey and you want to build a brand and you want to be surrounded by, you choose the right people. You choose people that, you can relate with, people that you connect with, and people that you feel can help you. Because like you're saying there with the social media managers, just as an example, the amount of messages that I get saying, I'm spending 600 quid a month. For one, you don't need a social media manager. You're not that big enough business. Like, stop being lazy and put the work in yourself. But there's so many people out there that are just there to get your money. Do you know what I mean? And you need to understand that, and you have to see that. And that's why I say to everyone, do your due diligence and do it properly first time around, because do you know what? If you do, you can build a super successful business online with the world that we live in now with social commerce. And we're only talking about social on this one, but we could be talking about every platform that you could be making money from. But we're talking about social commerce.
I think it can be now, because I've been in it for a long period of time now on social media. Like, maybe it's a little bit different the way I think, but I just think it's so simple to do. You have to put a bit of work in, of course, but like the actual fundamentals of it is quite simple. Like, the platforms are free. Use the content, get the videos that you need. The only tricky part maybe could be the marketing side of things. But obviously we help with that anyway, it could be the marketing. Do you know what I mean? So, but I think, like you said earlier, with like the shops closing down and stuff like that, I think a lot of people need to understand when building the business, you need to pivot sometimes.
Yes,
So
definitely,
with like the trends and stuff like that, okay, that trend's now finished on social media, I just pivot to this one. And you need to do that in business. Like, we do it all the time, don't we? So it's just keeping up with the trends. But yeah, it's I think it's quite simple.
I think a lot of the time we were so in that bubble, you think everybody knows this.
Yeah.
You're doing e-commerce and you're building a brand. Like, I would say sometimes we live in a little bubble. Without lying, we live in a little bubble where we think everybody knows about e-commerce and everybody does e-commerce. When in fact, barely anyone does it when you look at the big picture. Barely
anyone does it right anyway.
So there's like 10 of us in the Maldives right now wearing change, and the amount of people that have stopped us and said, what's change? You're like, e-commerce. What's e-commerce? You're like, oh shit, people don't know about this. You expect people to. It's just one of those things where you're doing it every day, and but people love the concept of it. I think people love the idea of it, but it's great to see so many businesses coming on board now. It's great to see a lot of businesses who are like Ryan, ready to make that transition. Josh, let's build a social media empire. Reese, can you help me with an online store? Never did one before. Tammy, what advice have you got for white private labeling? I think it's great when you see members come through and they go, I'm a traditional business owner, I've been in it for 10, 15 years, ready to go to the next fucking level. And they are probably the 1% of business owners that are waking up, that realise that the internet is the future, but not just that, probably have their priorities in the right places, because they're like, do you know what? It's not just about the money. I'll make more money online, but it's not just about the money. It's about the freedom. I'm watching these guys run their businesses from all around the world, and I want a piece of that cake. And it's amazing to see the amount of business owners we're getting on board that are now finally waking up. Because me and Reese, we're talking about this in 2020, 2019, before the pandemic happened. Nobody wanted to know. Nobody wanted to know about the online world. Nobody believed in the online world. They all thought it was a phase. They all thought, you know what, online businesses will eventually die and everyone will be walking back into my shop.
Yeah.
You drive through that town now, that shop race that we walked into and asked if they wanted help. Oh, it's boarded up and closed down. Should have moved online. Yeah, sometimes you have to wake up. As much as some people are up their own arse in business, I think sometimes you have to say to yourself, do you know what? I am wrong. I need to move online.
Yeah.
Some people will never wake up, but whilst these people here are fizzling out of business and their businesses are collapsing or their businesses are killing them from doing 70, 80 hours a week, whether it's on tools or whatever, the online world is getting bigger and better. And like I say, and I've said in podcasts before, there's 16-year-olds out there. Picture this. There's 16-year-olds out there shooting fucking videos on YouTube, making millions every single month. And they're using the internet and they're using a social media platform.
I get messages all the time from people saying, am I too late to start an e-commerce business? And I'm just like, the growth is ridiculous. Like, what is it? I'm too old, yeah. But what is the growth this year? It's like 11% growth this year.
11%, yeah.
And it's just growing every year.
Is it 2026? It's going to grow 56%.
Wow. Which means more and more people are buying.
Yeah.
So there's even more of an opportunity for
$600 million is being spent every year. An extra $600 million is being spent every year compared to the previous year up to 2026.
It's just waking up to it.
Yeah.
It's just waking up to it. And especially if you're a business owner and you're not online, have to get online.
If you're not a business owner, you're not online, get online.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Literally, like, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
But I guess it's not for everyone. You know, we say this all the time, but everyone can download social media. Everyone can run social media from their phone, and everyone has the potential to make money through social media. Like I said at the beginning of this podcast, we got members just from social media doing 15 grand a month. You know, and then I've got people messaging me saying, Ryan, I've got a really good job, you know, and I'm earning 10 grand a month, 60 hours a week, and telling me they're successful. But then I've got a member who's basically got their business on autopilot on social media doing 15 grand a month. There's a big difference between success these days.
Massive difference. Before we wrap this podcast up, there's probably a question that people are probably thinking to themselves right now. So if they're looking at, you know, moving over to the social media side of things, or they've got an existing e-commerce business or even traditional business and they want to move over to social media, they're probably sat here watching us right now and thinking, what platform do I do? Do I do TikTok? Do I do Instagram, Facebook? Do I do all of them? What would be your best advice to give the person watching right now?
I think it's just gonna be trial and error, wouldn't it, Josh?
Yeah, I think if you it depends what the content is you're creating. If your content videos, then use it for TikTok and Instagram. Use them both.
Yeah.
Like I said, the free platforms. Use them on both.
So compared to research, would be big for that individual. See what
absolutely, yeah. If it's photos, like Instagram is, I know they're pushing a lot of reels on Instagram, but it is a photography business model. Instagram. So if you're taking pictures, use Instagram. If you're getting video content, use TikTok and Instagram for reels. Use it for YouTube as well, YouTube Shorts. So I'd use all platforms. I just think it's worth using all platforms.
If you're making that content anyway, it literally will take 2 minutes to upload to each platform.
I think you should always have a form of free advertising and paid advertisers. So if you speak to our marketing consultant, Anthony, you know, if you're doing Instagram, like, cool, but we need to run some Facebook ads. I think it's good to just test, trial. You don't want to you don't want to overwhelm yourself in business. You don't want to be like, right now, marketing, I need to do all these platforms. No. Start with one. Start with Instagram, build some momentum. Now let's open up a TikTok on the side. But have some Facebook ads running, because that's paid advertising, that's autopilot. You know, don't get me wrong, you know, there will be members watching this podcast again, but I don't need to do any of those social media platforms. I'm doing X amount of money on Facebook, we're scaling the business, that's absolutely fine. But I do still recommend at some point you look at an IG or a TikTok or potentially a YouTube, because it's an extra income stream from that platform. You know, so should we wrap it up there, guys?
Yeah, it's been good.
Happy birthday, Tammy. Thank you for coming on.
Should have bought a cake.
And yeah, I can't wait to shoot the next podcast. Let's go.
Good stuff.
Let's go.
Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Tammy.